Today's brief has been created with open source information readily available on the internet as well as books. However, take it with a pinch of salt because some aspects have been kept secret due to said country's Official Secrets Act, and sometimes Wikipedia is probably the best place to find the information. So sit back, relax, and let's get into today's briefing. The Horizon class was a joint collaboration of 3 nations cooperating in creating an air defence destroyer. The class would originate from the requirements from France, Italy and the UK for a surface escort. Originally the idea was to have the nations of Canada, France, Germany, Italy, the Netherlands, Spain, the USA and the UK for a quote-unquote NATO frigate, a multinational frigate design for interoperability and a low economic cost across the board. However, the NATO frigate would fall through, and as such, the Marine Nationale, the Marina Militaire, and the Royal Navy would join together to create the Common New Generation Frigate, designed around the role of anti-air and utilising the PAMS system. Problems arose very early on in the development of these ships, due to the problem that you're having 3 nations trying to basically wedge in whatever they wanted into the class, and the other ones basically saying no. France wanted an anti-air warfare destroyer, but to have a short range, because they want to escort the carrier Charles de Gaulle just in the Mediterranean. The Italians had the same idea, but for their carrier, the Cavour. But they wanted to also have the support with the Italian Air Force, and as such, they wanted slightly less on their ships. The Royal Navy, on the other hand, as per usual, would want a more capable ship for long-range air defence and long-range radar detection. In essence, to create an air defence bubble over a fleet operating anywhere around the world. Pretty much what kind of everyone else wanted, but they wanted theirs a bit more short range. The way they got around this was to basically build one hull and then build the superstructure, and then what you'll do is you can input your own systems. So what Italy and France were going to do was going to fit the ships with the Empire multifunctional system that could be fed into PAMS. The British, on the other hand, were going to use Samson, or as it's now designated as Type 1045 multifunctional radar, which again will fit into PAMS, and that is what they were going to do. So with that first problem solved, it wouldn't last long, however, due to the 3 companies, one from each navy, trying to lobby for what they want, and the other companies not really weighing into it. There was quite a lot of arguments. These were to do with the hull, the weapon systems, the power plants, the radars, the accommodation, the galleys, you name it, it was argued. And by 1997, the choice for VLS was actually eventually agreed upon, surprisingly enough, with the Silver system, designed to take PAMS, or Aster 15. Aster 30. The project continued slowly until mid-1999 when the RM pulled out of the Horizon project and they went over to the Type 45, in which they would develop a world-class anti-air warfare destroyer with 6 ships being built. But that's a brief for another day. Now, with the British out of the way, the progress of the ships increased in speed. In September 2000, France and Italy would sign a contract to produce 4 ships, 2 from France and 2 from Italy. The French ships would be known as Forbin and Chevalier, with another 2 being ordered but eventually cancelled, and the Italian ships would be named Andrea Doria and Caio Duilio. These ships would be 7,050 tons at full load. They'd be 152.87 metres long, 20.3 metres beam, and have a draft of 5.8 metres. The propulsion would consist of a CODOG system of 2 gas turbines, 2 diesel engines, and 4 diesel generators, powering 2 screws and a bow thruster for 29 plus knots, and the range of about 6,100 nautical miles at 18 knots. The crew complement would range from 206 on the French vessels to 236 on the Italian vessels. The ship's weapons fits would differ slightly on the different nation ships. These weapons would be as standard. The 48 vertical launch Aster 15 and 30 serves to a missile system. Aster 15 has a range of about 8 nautical miles, and Aster 30 has a range of 64.8 nautical miles. Anti-ship missiles on these ships would consist of the Exocet Block 3 on the French ships and Automat on the Italian vessels. Their range would be 97 nautical miles and 190 nautical miles respectively. The Italian ships sport 3 Ottomolara 76mm super rapid guns, whereas the French ships only carry 2. These have an effective range of about 8 nautical miles. Close-in weapons consist on the French ships of the Mistral man-pad system, and that has an effective range in the region of about 3 nautical miles. In addition to this, they carry 3 20mm remote-operated guns. On the Italian vessels, they sport 2 25mm auto guns and 2 LRAD long-range acoustic devices. Both ships are fitted with magazine-fed torpedo tubes, one per side, for ASW actions. The radar systems consist of 1 MPAR multifunctional phase array Gulf band radar. Effective detection range is about 300 nautical miles. 1 SMART-L, or as it's designated, Type 1046 early warning delta band radar with built-in IFF. Effective range is about 25 nautical miles. On the Italian ships, they sport 1 RAN 30X I-band two-dimensional surface search radar and 2 SPIN 753 Golf version 10 navigational radars. On the French ships, they are fitted with 2 Forono navigational radars, one in the Echo Foxtrot band and one in the India/Juliet band. And then finally 1 SPIN 753 Golf version 10 navigational radar. Aviation facilities consist of a large flight deck and hangar, capable of taking either an Augusta Westland 101 Merlin or an NH-90 Seahawk helicopter. The ships are fitted with onboard ESM, jammers, decoys, as well as a large range of communications equipment. The French ships would be laid down on April 4th, 2002 and October 23rd, 2003 at the DCNS shipyard in Lorient, being launched on March 19th, 2005 and July 12th, 2006, commissioning in December 2008 and June of 2009. The Italian ships would be laid down on July 19th, 2002 and September 19th, 2003, launching on October 15th, 2005 and October 23rd, 2007, commissioning on December 22nd, 2007 and April 3rd, 2009. Both French ships are based out of Toulon in South France. Forbin would be the trial ship for the French vessels when it came to the PAMS system and its capabilities, testing them in late November 2007. Apparently, she was very capable against Superintendants and the Atlantique II MPA aircraft. Forbin would take her first cruise in March 2009, visiting places like Morocco, the USA, Canada, calling to places further afield like Casablanca and Rio de Janeiro, Martinique, and then back to Norfolk, Virginia and New York. En route to the latter, she conducted exercises with the destroyer, the USS Forrest Sherman. He returned home and saw a naval parade. Afterwards, he deployed to the east of Suez to support the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower during Operation Enduring Freedom. A year later, he would escort the French carrier Charles de Gaulle in the Mediterranean, Red Sea, Indian Ocean and Persian Gulf. He joined up with the Abraham Lincoln and the Harry S. Truman task groups in the Gulf. After this, he took part in a bilateral exercise with the Indian aircraft carrier Virat, ex-HMS Hermes, alongside the Godavari-class frigates and SSK. He would then return home just after January 2011. Up until now, she has been through a midlife refit lasting about 6 months, as well as escorting the French carrier Charles de Gaulle in the eastern Mediterranean for airstrikes against ISIS forces. Chevalier Paul would make her first launch of the MM-40 Block 3 Exocet anti-ship missile in March of 2010 during its first deployment. She would take part in the French contribution of the 2011 military intervention with Libya, where she sailed the land forces inland. By 2013, he was claimed to have deployed to the eastern Mediterranean with the carrier Charles de Gaulle in response to the Syrian civil war. However, the Navy would deny such actions. By 2014, he took part in a large international operation called Exercise Catamaran 2014, helping to defend an amphibious assault from the air. A year later, he was publicly shown to be part of the French carrier strike group, engaging in airstrikes against ISIS in Syria, spending about 5 months from home and engaged in operations in the Gulf as well for about 8 weeks. He would sail again in 2015 for carrier strike operations, this time in company with her half-sister, HMS Defender. In 2020, he suffered hard with the COVID-19 pandemic, where most, if not all of her crew contracted the virus. It is believed that everyone has recovered from said virus. Current open source intelligence suggests that the French ships are in active service and the latter ship is now COVID-free. The Italian vessels will be covered separately, as they are technically not a Horizon-class vessel, but actually an Andrea Doria class, and I'll cover their service histories next December. Thank you very much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something new. Before you go, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel to stay up to date with my latest videos, as well as commenting, and if you want to, subscribe to the Patreon page to support the channel. All I need to say is, here's a sneak peek at next week's video.